This is a Fonzie Studio podcast. Welcome to Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and every week I'll share with you a tale and ancient wisdom of the native tribes of North America. I'll be joined by my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, who will undoubtedly make their presence known at some point, so I might as well just list them as co-hosts. We hope you'll enjoy the tales and wisdom, raise your vibration, and enrich your life with us every week. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the 37th episode of Tales from the First Nations. I'm your host, Jay Idle. During our 35th episode on the ash tree, I mentioned the story of the three sisters, corn, squash, and beans. Surprisingly enough, three vegetables that I liked even as a child. I haven't had acorn squash in many years, but I love it. I love acorn squash. Corn and beans are also favorites. They were around my house when I was a kid. So, the three sisters, I loved them all. And they were known as the Three Sisters because they were extremely important to the tribes. They were like family, and they grow well together, creating the perfect agricultural pairing that grew together nutritionally, feeding each other in the soil. They were more than just crops. They were central to many Native American beliefs, ceremonies, and legends. The Iroquois people have an important tale about the Three Sisters, and according to wearenative.org, the letter R, wearenative.org, the story goes like this. Three sisters who sprouted from the body of Sky Woman's daughter granted the gift of agriculture to the tribes. The sisters were all different in appearance and in personality and lived together and helped each other to grow and be strong. Corn, or maize, is the oldest sister. She stands tall in the center and provides a structure for the beans to climb, eliminating the need for poles. Squash is the second sister. She grows over the mound, protecting her sisters from weeds, and shades the soil from the sun with her leaves to keep it cool and moist. Beans are the third sister. She climbs the squash and then up the cornstalk to bind it all together as she reaches for the sun. Now, each crop complements each other nutritionally as well. Maize is high in calories, but relatively low in protein and is missing two critical amino acids. Beans, on the other hand, a rich source of protein, has an amino acid that complements the maize, so they are a perfect pairing. Now, eating the two crops together provides a complete array of the amino acids that you need. Squash, throw that into the mix. It's high in calories, vitamins, and minerals, and its seeds are a good source of protein and oil as well. So with each of these crops benefiting you when you eat them together, they also benefit the soil when they are planted together. They each contribute to different characteristics that help all three of them grow. But in addition to agriculture and nutrition, the Three Sisters teach us that everyone has something to offer, everyone brings something different to the table, and there is strength in diversity. Now, there's also a Mohawk story of the Three Sisters, and that's the one that I'd like to share with you now. Once upon a time, a very long time ago, there were three sisters who lived together in a field. These sisters were quite different from one another in their size and also in their way of dressing. One of the three was a little sister, so young that she could only crawl at first, and she was dressed in green. The second of the three wore a frock of bright yellow, and she had a way of running off by herself when the sun shone and the soft wind blew in her face. The third was the eldest sister, standing always very straight and tall above the other sisters and trying to guard them, keep them safe. She wore a pale green shawl, and she had long yellow hair that tossed about her head in the breeze. There was only one way in which the three sisters were alike, and that is that they loved one another very dearly and were never separated. They were sure that they would not be able to live apart. After a while, a stranger came to the field of the three sisters, a little native boy. He was as straight as an arrow and as fearless as the eagle that circled the sky above his head. He knew the way of talking to the birds and the small brothers of the earth, the shrew, the chipmunk, and the young foxes. And the three sisters, the one who was just able to crawl, and the one in the yellow frock, and the one with the flowing hair that was very tall, they were all very interested in this little native boy. They watched him fit his arrows in his bow, saw him carve a bow with his stone knife, and wondered where he went at night. Late in the summer of the first coming of the boy to their field, one of the three sisters disappeared. This was the youngest sister in green, the sister who could only creep. She was scarcely able to stand alone in the field unless she had a stick to which she clung. Her sisters mourned for her until the fall, but she did not return. Once more, the little native boy came to the field of the three sisters. He came to gather reeds at the edge of a stream nearby to make arrow shafts. The two sisters who were left watched him and gazed with wonder at the prints of his moccasins in the earth that marked his trail. That night, the second of the sisters left, the one who was dressed in yellow and always wanted to run away. She left no mark of her going, but it may have been that she set her feet in the moccasin tracks of the little native boy. Now there was but one of the sisters left. Tall and straight, she stood in the field, not once bowing her head with sorrow, but it seemed to her she could not live there alone. The days grew shorter, and the nights grew colder. Her green shawl faded and grew thin and old. Her hair, once long and golden, was tangled by the wind. Day and night she sighed for her sisters to return to her, but they did not hear her. Her voice, when she tried to call, was low and plaintive like the wind. But one day, it was the season of the harvest. The little native boy heard the crying of the third sister who had been left to mourn there in the field. He felt sorry for her, and he took her in his arms and carried her to the lodge of his father and mother. Oh, what a surprise awaited her there! Her two lost sisters were there in the lodge of the little boy, safe and very glad to see her. They had been curious about the little native boy, and they had gone home with him to see how and where he lived. They had liked his warm cave so well that they had decided, now that winter was coming, to stay with him, and they were doing all they could to be useful. The little sister in green, now quite grown up, was helping to keep the dinner pot full. The sister in yellow sat on the shelf drying herself, for she planned to fill the dinner pot later. The third sister joined them, ready to grind meal for the native boy, and the three were never separated again. Isn't that a cute story? There is nothing like family, and the three sisters demonstrate this. Not only do they enjoy living and growing together, they enjoy being together and helping people in the end. Thank you for joining me on my journey and on this podcast. I wish you well and look forward to sharing another story with you next week. Go in peace, return in peace, and may you be well. The initial Iroquois story came from wearenative.org, W-E, the letter R, native.org. The main story came from ganondagan.org, that's GANONDAGAN.org. For more stories and legends, check out the Jaguar Bird channel on YouTube. There's a lot of wonderful content there, and of course, you can join me here next week for another fantastic story on Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and I'll talk to you next time. The beautiful music dancing into your ears at this very moment was provided by my dear friend Scott Brocklesby, and our podcast image was provided by Mark Lawton. We will see you next time. All right, that's it. How'd we do, Dawa?
Awesome.
Phones? Excellent. Excellent. Then I'll share it.